friends knew it. They could have stopped that shit. They could have made that girl go home. They could have made that girl go to home. So yeah, it's sad that she been taken away from her kids, but y'all play a big part in that shit because y'all didn't stop y'all friend. Y'all could have told her it ain't worth it. You got children.
Let me go get this gun from Erica Girl. Those 8 words were spoken with a laugh. 8 words that could have changed everything if someone had taken them seriously. Instead, 30 seconds later, gunshots rang out in a Montgomery parking lot, and a mother of 4 lay dying on the asphalt. But here's what'll really blow your mind. The woman who pulled the trigger had walked straight into a police station afterward and turned herself in. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She walked in like someone who had nothing to hide. Was this cold-blooded murder? Or was this a woman who had no choice but to defend herself? What you're about to hear isn't just another love triangle gone wrong. This is about what happens when your friends become your worst enemies. Not the ones pointing guns at you, but the ones laughing while it happens. This is about how 6 words on social media, "Tell them hoes to come outside," became a death sentence. And this is about why one woman is crowdfunding her legal defense while 4 children are growing up without their mother. Before we dive deep into this case, if you're interested in true crime stories that go beyond the headlines, that ask the hard questions nobody else is asking, hit that subscribe button right now and join the TCU TV family, True Crime Unraveled TV, where we unravel the stories that need to be told. And trust me, this one needs to be told. On May 1st, 2022, in Montgomery, Alabama, 2 women who once shared a roof as teenagers faced off with guns drawn. One would die. One would claim self-defense. But the real story? It's about the people who stood by and watched it happen. The friends who could have stopped it with a single word but chose entertainment over intervention. We have the actual video of the threat that started it all. We have the emotional testimony from the witness who saw everything. And we have questions that nobody seems to want to answer. Like, why did Erica Reese's friends treat her death threats like a comedy show? Why did a judge reduce Katina Davis's bail by 90% against the DA's wishes? And why is the man at the center of all this walking around Montgomery without a scratch, while 2 mothers destroyed their lives over him? Buckle up, because this ride through Montgomery streets is about to take some turns you won't see coming. Let's talk about Montgomery for a minute. This isn't just any southern city. This is the birthplace of the civil rights movement, where Rosa Parks said enough is enough, where Dr. King organized the bus boycott that changed America. But it's also a city that's been struggling with violence for years. In 2022, when our story takes place, Montgomery was dealing with crime rates that had folks double-checking their locks at night. We're talking about a city where the homicide rate was climbing, where gunfire wasn't uncommon, where beef that started on social media too often ended in bloodshed. The Montgomery Police Department was stretched thin, trying to keep peace in a city where old grudges run deep and new conflicts pop up faster than spring dandelions. This is the backdrop for what happened between Katina Davis and Erica Reese. 2 women trying to raise their kids in a city where making it to tomorrow isn't always guaranteed. 2 women who knew the streets, who knew the game, who knew that when someone makes a threat in Montgomery, you better take it seriously as a heart attack. Katina Davis was 31 years old, a mother of 2, including a 2-year-old son whose father would become the match that lit this whole powder keg. By all accounts, she was trying to keep her head down and raise her kids. She wasn't known for drama, wasn't known for violence. Until May 1st, 2022, she was just another young mother trying to make it in Montgomery. Erica Reese was 32, a mother of 4, for kids who needed her, who depended on her, who would soon lose her. But Erica had something eating at her, something she couldn't let go of. See, the father of Katina's baby? He used to be with Erica, and in Erica's mind, Katina had taken something that belonged to her. Now here's where it gets interesting. These weren't strangers who bumped into each other at a club. Katina and Erica had history going back to when they were teenagers. Erica had actually lived with Katina's family at one point. Let that marinate for a second. They broke bread together, shared a roof, probably shared secrets. They were practically family. But somewhere along the way, that bond turned toxic. And the man they were fighting over? Well, He's still walking around Montgomery like nothing happened. Isn't that always the way? The women destroy each other while the man walks away, whistling Dixie. April 2022, 1 month before the shooting. Erica Reese decided to go live on social media. And what she did on that live stream would later be played in police stations and courtrooms as Exhibit A in this tragedy. Picture this. Erica's holding up her phone, streaming live to whoever wants to watch. But she's not just talking. She's holding a gun. A large pistol, not some little Saturday night special. She's waving it around like it's a prop, but everyone watching knows it's real as rain. And then she starts talking directly to Katina. Not in general terms, not in subtle hints. She's calling her out by name. She says she's always by herself with this gun. Always strapped, always ready. That's not protection talk, folks. That's preparation talk. That's I'm ready for war talk. But here's the kicker, the part that would echo in a courtroom months later. Erica looked into that camera and said if Katina fucked with her, Katina's mother would be writing her obituary. Not we'll handle it. Not there'll be consequences. She specifically said obituary. She was talking about death and she wanted everyone to know it. The video went viral in their community faster than gossip at a church picnic. Everyone saw it. Everyone shared it. Everyone had an opinion. Some people thought Erica was just talking tough, putting on a show for the camera. Others knew better. In Montgomery, when someone shows you a gun and mentions obituaries, you better believe they mean business. What did Katina do? Did she run to the police? Did she file for a restraining order? No. Maybe she thought it would blow over. Maybe she didn't want to be seen as weak. Maybe she just didn't think the system would protect her anyway. But she saw that video, and from that moment on, she knew Erica was gunning for her literally. May 1st, 2022, a Sunday night. The weather was perfect for going out. Not too hot, not too cold, just right for folks to hit the clubs and forget their troubles for a few hours. The club on East Patton Avenue was jumping. Music pumping, drinks flowing, people trying to have a good time. Katina Davis was there with her boyfriend. Yes, the same man who was at the center of all this drama. They weren't hiding in the shadows. They weren't trying to avoid anyone. They were just out for the night like any other couple in Montgomery. But here's the thing about Montgomery. It's a small city in a lot of ways. Everybody knows everybody's business. And someone made sure Erica Reese knew exactly where Katina was that night. When Erica got that information, she had a choice. She could have stayed home with her 4 kids. She could have let it go. She could have chosen peace. Instead, she chose violence. She got in her car and drove to that club with one thing on her mind. When Erica walked into that club, the whole energy changed. You know how when trouble walks into a room, you can feel it? The hair on the back of your neck stands up? That's what happened. People noticed her immediately. She wasn't there to party. She wasn't there to drink. She was pacing back and forth like a caged tiger, and she wasn't quiet about her intentions. Brittany was there that night, Katina's friend, who would later become the key witness to everything that went down. Brittany watched Erica pacing, agitated, ready to pop off. And Erica was telling anyone who would listen what she planned to do. She was going to shoot Katina and her boyfriend when they left. Not if they said something slick. Not if they disrespected her. When they left. The plan was already locked and loaded in her mind. Now, this is where the story takes a turn that'll make your blood boil. Erica's friends were there with her. They heard her making these threats. They saw her pacing, ready for violence. They knew she had a gun. What did they do? Did they try to calm her down? Did they try to get her to think about her 4 kids at home? Did they take her keys and drive her home? Did they call someone who could talk sense into her? No. They laughed. According to witnesses, they treated it like it was funny. Like watching their friend prepare to commit murder was entertainment. One of them was heard saying, and I quote, "Let me go get this gun from Erica girl." Like it was a joke. Like someone's life wasn't hanging in the balance. These weren't strangers. These were supposed to be Erica's friends. People who supposedly cared about her. But instead of being real friends, instead of saving her from herself, they egged her on. They became accomplices to her rage. They chose entertainment over intervention, and that choice would cost Erica her life. Think about that for a minute. How many times have we seen this play out? Friends hyping someone up instead of calming them down. Friends encouraging beef instead of squashing it. Friends recording fights instead of stopping them. When did we become a society where watching someone destroy their life is considered entertainment? Word travels fast in a crowded club. Katina and her boyfriend found out Erica was there and making threats. They made the smart move. They decided to leave. But they couldn't just walk out. They knew the danger was real as a heart attack. So Brittany and some others formed a protective circle around them. They were going to walk them to their motorcycle, which was parked right by the door, and make sure they got away safely. Safety in numbers, right? They made it outside. The motorcycle was right there. Freedom was just seconds away. But Erica had already left the club through another exit. She'd positioned herself in the parking lot across the street. She was lying in wait like a predator stalking prey. And then came those 6 words that would echo through Montgomery. Tell them hoes to come outside. Erica wasn't hiding. She wasn't trying to ambush anyone. She was standing there in the open, gun in hand, calling them out like this was the Wild West. Like this was high noon in Montgomery. Brittany, brave or foolish depending on how you look at it, started walking toward Erica. Maybe she thought she could talk her down. Maybe she was just fed up with the drama. But as she approached, someone yelled a warning. Erica had her weapon out and ready. Brittany turned to run. And then the shots started flying. In moments like these, time does funny things. Some people say everything slows down like you're moving through molasses. Others say it's over before you can blink. But one thing's for certain. When the shooting stopped, 3 people were down. Erica Reese was on the ground, fatally wounded. She'd come looking for violence and found it, but not the way she'd planned. A male bystander was hit, suffering what would be described as life-threatening injuries. A female bystander was also wounded, though her injuries weren't life-threatening. And Katina Davis? She was alive. Shaken, probably in shock, but alive. And holding a smoking gun. Now, here's the million-dollar question that a jury will have to answer. Who shot first? According to Brittany, who saw the whole thing go down, Erica drew first. If that's true, then under Alabama law, Katina had every right to defend herself. You can't start a gunfight and then cry foul when you lose. But even if Erica drew first, even if Katina was defending herself, the fact remains, a mother of 4 was dead in a Montgomery parking lot, and her kids would grow up without her. In the chaos after the shooting, people scattered like roaches when you turn on the light. Some ran back into the club. Others jumped in their cars and peeled out. Someone called 911, though by then it was too late for Erica. But here's what Katina did, and this is important. She didn't run. She didn't try to ditch the weapon. She didn't go home and lawyer up. She drove straight to the Montgomery Police Department and turned herself in.
Think about that.
She'd just been in a shootout. Someone was dead. Her life, as she knew it, was over. But her first instinct was to go to the police. That's not the action of someone who thinks they've committed cold-blooded murder. That's the action of someone who believes they had no choice. The police arrested her on the spot. The charges were heavy as lead. Murder for Erica's death. First-degree assault for the man with life-threatening injuries. Second-degree assault for the wounded woman. The judge set her bail at $1.545 million. That's not money you find in your couch cushions. That's you're not getting out money. The day after the shooting, Brittany decided to speak out. She went on social media, the same platform that had escalated this conflict, to tell her truth about what happened. She was emotional, raw, hadn't slept. You could see the trauma written all over her face. According to Brittany, this was a kill or be killed situation. Those were her exact words. She said Erica was absolutely the aggressor that night. She'd come to the club looking for smoke and found fire. She'd made threats, positioned herself for ambush, and drew her weapon first. But Brittany didn't stop at defending Katina. She had smoke for Erica's friends too. She called them out for treating the situation like a joke, for encouraging violence instead of preventing it. She said they could have stopped this tragedy, but chose not to. They have to live with that for the rest of their lives. Brittany's testimony is crucial because she's an eyewitness, with no reason to lie. She saw everything go down. She was close enough to hear the threats, see the weapons, feel the bullets fly past. Her word could be the difference between Katina going home to her kids or spending the rest of her life in prison. The Montgomery County District Attorney's Office had a complicated case on their hands. On one hand, someone was dead, and 2 others were wounded. That's serious as a heart attack. On the other hand, there was significant evidence that the deceased had been the aggressor. The prosecution had to consider several factors. First, there was the video from a month before showing Erica making death threats while brandishing a weapon. That's premeditation in living color. Second, there were multiple witnesses who saw Erica come to the club looking for trouble. Third, there was testimony that Erica drew first. But they also had to consider that Katina brought a gun to the club too. If she was just out for a good time, why was she strapped? The prosecution could argue she was just as ready for violence as Erica was. Then something interesting happened. A judge reviewed the case and decided to reduce Katina's bail from $1.545 million to $150,000. That's a reduction of more than 90%. The DA publicly stated this was done over his objection. He wanted Katina held on the higher bail. What did that judge see that made them slash the bail like that? Maybe they recognized this wasn't a simple case of murder. Maybe they saw the self-defense argument had merit. Maybe they considered that Katina had turned herself in immediately and wasn't a flight risk. After posting bail, Katina faced another challenge, paying for her defense. Good lawyers don't come cheap, and when you're facing murder charges, you need the best lawyer money can buy. So Katina did what a lot of people in her situation do in 2022. She turned to social media and crowdfunding. She set up a GoFundMe, asking the public to help with her legal fees. Now, this rubbed some people the wrong way. Here's a woman who killed someone out on bail, asking strangers for money. Erica's family and friends were furious. They saw it as adding insult to injury. But Katina's supporters saw it differently. They argued she was a victim who'd been forced to defend herself and now needed help fighting for her freedom. They pointed out that if she'd been rich, she wouldn't need to crowdfund. This was about economic justice as much as criminal justice. The GoFundMe became another battlefield in this case. People who supported Katina donated and shared the link. People who supported Erica reported it, trying to get it taken down. Even in seeking help for her defense, Katina couldn't escape the controversy. Throughout all of this drama, violence, and legal battles, one person remained notably absent from consequences: the man both women had been with. He was at the club that night. He was one of the people Erica had threatened to shoot. But somehow, he walked away without a scratch. Not only did he avoid physical harm, but he's faced no social consequences either. Nobody's asking him hard questions about his role in this conflict. Nobody's holding him accountable for playing these women against each other. He's just living his life while one woman is dead and another faces prison. This is a pattern we see too often. Women destroy each other over men who aren't worth the drama. Men who fuel conflicts between women and then step back to watch the fireworks. Men who could stop the beef with a word but choose to stay silent. Where was he when Erica was making threats on social media? Where was he when tensions were escalating? Why didn't he tell both women to leave him out of their drama? Why didn't he try to broker peace? These are questions nobody seems to be asking, but they should be. The shooting divided Montgomery, like the Mason-Dixon line. Some people immediately sided with Katina, saying she had every right to defend herself against someone who'd publicly threatened to kill her. They pointed to the video, the witnesses, the fact that she turned herself in immediately. Others mourned Erica and demanded justice. They said whatever threats she'd made, she didn't deserve to die. They pointed out that Katina had brought a gun too, suggesting she'd been just as ready for violence. The case became about more than just these two women. It became about gun violence in Montgomery, about how social media escalates conflicts, about the failure of the system to protect people from threats, about the culture that turns personal beef into public entertainment. Local churches held prayer vigils. Community leaders called for peace and healing. But on social media, the war raged on. People who didn't even know Katina or Erica were taking sides, making threats, continuing the cycle of violence that had already claimed one life. Let's not forget the real victims in this tragedy, the children. Erica's 4 kids, the oldest barely teenagers, are now growing up without their mother. They have to live with the knowledge that she died in a parking lot shootout that started over a man. They have to see people online debating whether their mother deserved what happened to her. Katina's 2 children face their own trauma. Their mother might go to prison for the rest of her life. Even if she's acquitted, they'll always be known as the kids whose mom killed someone. They'll carry this stigma through school, through relationships, through life. 6 children total, all paying the price for adult decisions they had no part in making. 6 children who needed their mothers more than those mothers needed to settle their beef. 6 children who'll grow up with trauma that could have been prevented if just one person had chosen de-escalation over drama. So, what can we learn from this tragedy? First, when someone makes threats on social media, take it seriously. This isn't just talking tough for the camera. In the age of social media, threats can be evidence of premeditation, and they can escalate conflicts beyond the point of no return. Second, be the friend who intervenes, not the friend who instigates. Erica's friends could have saved her life by taking her keys, calling someone to calm her down, or even calling the police. Instead, they treated her rage like entertainment. Now they have to live with knowing they could have prevented her death. Third, ego isn't worth your life or your freedom. Both women let pride and anger cloud their judgment. Both women had children who needed them. Both women had everything to lose and nothing to gain from this confrontation. But in the heat of the moment, ego won over logic. Fourth, the presence of guns escalates everything. Whatever your stance on gun rights, it's undeniable that this situation went from potentially a fistfight to a fatal shooting because both women were armed. Easy access to firearms turns split-second decisions into life-or-death moments. Fifth, the system fails to protect people from threats until it's too late. Erica's video threat was evidence of a crime, communicating threats. But nothing was done until after blood was spilled. We need better mechanisms for intervention before threats become tragedies. As we record this, Katina Davis awaits trial. The prosecution will argue she committed murder, that she had other options besides deadly force. They'll point to her bringing a gun as evidence she was prepared for violence. They'll emphasize the tragedy of Erica's death and the impact on her 4 children. The defense will argue self-defense. They'll show the video of Erica's threats. They'll present witnesses who saw Erica as the aggressor. They'll argue that Katina had seconds to make a life-or-death decision when Erica drew her weapon. The jury will have to decide, was this murder or self-defense? Did Katina have other options? Was her fear reasonable? Did she use appropriate force? These aren't easy questions, and 12 people will have to agree on the answers. Whatever the verdict, it won't bring Erica back. It won't undo the trauma to 6 children. It won't heal the divisions in Montgomery. But it will set a precedent for how we handle cases where social media threats lead to real-world violence. Erica Reese was buried on May 14, 2022. Her funeral was attended by hundreds who mourned a life cut short, a mother taken from her children, a woman whose anger cost her everything. Katina Davis is out on bail, trying to maintain some normalcy for her children while preparing for a trial that could send her to prison for life. She's crowdfunding her defense, maintaining her innocence, claiming she had no choice but to defend herself. The man at the center of the conflict? He's still in Montgomery, living his life, facing no consequences for his role in this tragedy. 2 women's lives destroyed, 6 children traumatized, a community divided, and he walks free. Brittany, the witness who saw it all, lives with the trauma of that night. She's spoken her truth, but she'll never forget watching her friend kill someone, feeling bullets fly past, seeing a woman die in a parking lot. Erica's friends, the ones who laughed instead of intervening, they have to live with knowing they could have prevented this. Every time they see Erica's children, they must wonder if their entertainment was worth those kids losing their mother. The tragedy of Katina Davis and Erica Reese is a modern American horror story. 2 young mothers who once lived under the same roof ended up in a deadly confrontation over a man who walked away unscathed. One is dead, one faces prison, and 6 children are collateral damage in a war they didn't start. This case forces us to ask hard questions. When does self-defense become murder? What responsibility do bystanders have to prevent violence? How has social media changed the way conflicts escalate? Why do women destroy each other over men who don't deserve it? There are no easy answers, but one thing's crystal clear. This didn't have to happen. At multiple points, different choices could have prevented this tragedy. Erica could have stayed home. Her friends could have stopped her. Katina could have left through another exit. Someone could have called the police before guns were drawn. But nobody made those choices, and now we're left with a cautionary tale about pride, anger, and the devastating cost of violence. A reminder that in the age of social media, threats aren't just words, they're evidence. A warning that friends who encourage your worst impulses aren't friends at all. So, I want to hear from you. Do you think Katina was justified in her actions? Should Erica's friends face any consequences for encouraging violence? What could have been done to prevent this tragedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this deep dive made you think, if it made you reconsider how you handle conflict, if it reminded you that life's too short for beef that can cost you everything, hit that like button. It helps more people find these important stories. And if you're not already part of the TCU TV family, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. True Crime Unraveled TV isn't just about the crime, it's about the lessons, the patterns, the warnings we need to heed. Remember, your ego isn't worth your life, your freedom, or your children's future. Choose peace, choose life, choose to walk away. This is TCU TV, where we unravel the truth, one case at a time. Stay safe out there, and remember, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Peace.